not even. I'm pretty sure they got out there, but in any case, I knew a couple people weren't going to show up. But I figured I'd sit around and wait for a few minutes. And I was going to just not take the time for myself. But I figured, well, I'm recording this anyway, and I'll probably end up recording some other stuff. And I was recording some stuff before this meeting, so I'll just continue the conversation, and it's kind of I'll kind of continue this in the sense of if this meeting were going on, what I might present or what I actually intended to present. This is just not a real format to this as is, but I figured I'd come to the table with some options at least. Really what I'd like these meetings to be, or everybody coming in and um, uh, having a space to discuss a variety of things in an open format, and maybe even break away into separate discussions if if there's a lot of people and a lot of different things that people want to talk about, use the time to break away and do that on a regular basis. So things like, whatever daily or weekly problems are going on with your business or in your work world, business related, that you could share and maybe get some insight from the other people that are participating, or and people are bringing their personal experience to things. So everybody's coming in at different stages in their career, um, or interest in business things related, things business. It seems so silly to like say, oh, let's talk business. I don't know. Um, but I guess that for me, and I think because for me it's more of a creative outlet than it is a business outlet. Like now at this point in my life, like the business side's interesting because I recognize that I'd much rather be creative with my days than be creative with my days, investing that time and energy into my own income rather than work for a company and do it. I think that uh, if I know how to run a business and can get closer to the bottom line, then why not go for that and invest my time into learning that rather than invest my time into learning how to do something for another company, that I don't have an interest in climbing a corporate ladder. Um, in that sense, it's just not for me. um, So the money side's what's interesting now, and that's really fueling the creative side, as I learn more about different things. So ultimately, my not ultimately, like my one of my big thoughts are, um, again, bringing people together and just work on things, bring their own personal things. On the other side of it too is to be able to kind of build a playground, um, and going back to the idea of the businesses and uh, businesses being a financial thing, but also a creative thing. So if you think about it as a business is like setting up a playground so that we can, you know, play with ideas. If there's some marketing thing that you've heard of, some YouTube video that, the 30,000 a day, whatever, well, why not try them? Use this platform to, we'll work together and and try it out. We can plan it out and invest whatever resources need to be invested into it. Uh, and ideally, we're trying to keep the lowest cost things and just learn. I think that this core group of people, I've identified a core group that I've been friends with, a core group that I've been friends with, and that I know have an interest in business at some level, or have at least have a mindset that that I don't know, it is something that they'd be interested in this. I got friends that are interested in all kinds of in different things, and some would not be interested in this at all, and some are, and you guys are those. And I may have missed some, so that's why I invite you guys to invite other people. One other person, uh, maybe, or whatever, but uh, to start, or two. I don't know what I'm saying. Invite people. That's fine. It's open. Um, but to go ahead and test out things. So in the vein of testing out ideas, um, and kind of going, just let me give some examples. I have been thinking of all kinds of things. Um, I always am. And one of the things, I was thinking of, let's start with this. All right. So what a goal of mine and Amanda's is to have a coffee shop in the Caribbean. And I think Amanda came to me, like we were talking about it, talking about dreams or whatever at some point, and I don't remember if she said um, that is kind of like a joke, or if she really meant that she really wanted to do that. In any case, um, I think that's a great idea, and why not? And we can work on it together. And that I like the idea of uh, being in a relationship with somebody who has a shared long-term goal. So that's cool. And uh, I had said, like, why don't we just go and do it? And she's more realistic and recognizes that I've got two kids that haven't graduated high school yet, and she's got a daughter who hasn't graduated college yet, and she wants to be around for her. I'm not too concerned about my boys because I'd expect to be able to travel um, and spend my time appropriately because I'll have this coffee empire with this one coffee shop in the Caribbean, obviously, which is ha ha ha. But what I do think we can do, um, and what I've mentioned to her several times is like, well, why don't we just kind of start a coffee brand here, or whatever, and or at least start learning how how the coffee business works, right? Like I know that my understanding of a coffee business is like you've got your coffee shops. Um, Sometimes they're franchised, a lot of times they're franchised. And then you've got to buy your coffee and you've got your coffee stands. You know, you just buy the equipment and the cups, and then it's the marketing. Everybody likes coffee. Not everybody likes coffee, but a lot of people like coffee. It's a popular drink. And I think there's different markets you can like try to get to cheap coffee or whatever. You could go around with a coffee cart, maybe. I don't know. Like I think of Aroma Joe's when they started, and they were just like the little coffee stand in a parking lot. I keep thinking about like, well, all the parking lots, there's just so much space that's open, like for at least in the area, and just to set up a quick stand. And I actually Aroma Joe's has a little stand type setup in on Forest Ave by the fire station. Um, it's not like a full building. It just looks like a storage shed. There's another uh, little restaurant thing there like that too. But so there's that. There's why not just build a stand here or whatever. But then I could even make it simpler than that and just to get into the business, into that industry of coffee, go into just selling online. I found I've already got a Shopify store set up. And I've been trying to figure out what I want to do with that, like what kind of products I want to add to it. So this gives me an opportunity to add to it with coffee. So there's this place called dripshipper.io. I'll pull it up, dripshipper.io. And what what is Drip Shipper, and how do we make it so easy to order private label coffee? So private label coffee is just making your own brand for it. So uh, Amanda and I have talked about different names and ideas. I'll try to like get her get her going a little bit every now and again. And the last thing we had thought of was Blue Hole Coffee. There's a place in Belize called Blue Hole. Um, it's actually really pretty. That's why I wanted to share it. Excuse me. In Belize. In Belize, I believe. But yeah, this thing. And I mean, it's. I like blue. I like the ocean. Oh wow, that's a really nice one. It's pretty. Anyway, oh wait, yeah, same place. Anyway, she had seen that and had wanted to go with that. So I was like, all right, cool. So I went in today. I was just like, all right, well, I'll just buy some domain names there because I mean it cost me $40 to get I think 6 names, something like that. And oh, plus another one. That's another idea I have. So curseblessing.love. Um, it's for another idea I have, but that was only a $1.98. So like I got that for a year. I mean, and whatever I do with that, I can make something stupid and put it up there and use that as the name. I cursed play because I think that's what I was doing. I had a song. I made a song today, or I've been working on a song, and I'd called it "Cursed Love," "Cursed Love," or something like that. And so I was gonna do make like a whole artistic story that went along with it, website that went along with it, and that was the website name that I was going to use. But anyway, sidetracked. So I got blueholebeanery.com because I think we had talked about that. Blueholecoffee.com, blueholecafe.com. Cafe with 2 F's because of coffee is in cafe, as opposed to cafe with 1 F because that one was already taken. And bluehole.coffee, which I thought that was pretty good. So anyway, all of these are like, $10 about, not for a year. So for $40, which I would spend on, I don't know, going out to lunch or to dinner or to get some drinks, and that lasts me 8 hours or so. This will last me a year where I can have something to work with and build on. So if I want to go ahead and keep building out just give me another step forward towards the building out the coffee thing. But if I again want to try out some things on some other websites, I've got domain names to like put them up in the web and play with them. I've got my own website, andremauricedavis.com, and I can always make because it's hosted on one spot. So now I can make, if I wanted to play with stuff, make other pages in there and point whatever websites domain names I want to those if I wanted to like try marketing them or anything like that. So that's where I'm at with that. So anyway, I went through, got those names out. So now we can work on putting together a brand. So we've got a name. Now I want to put together a logo a logo and branding colors and all that stuff that'll be represented on the bags of coffee. And on the sorry, yeah, and the merchandise. Actually, yes, the merchandise, and on the merchandising that goes with it. So, we want to make t-shirts, coffee mugs, swag, whatever, to give to customers and to sell in the Shopify store as well. And then the branding also has to be reflected in that Shopify store and the website design, color schemes, all that jazz. So anyway, with the branding, I already reached out to Dominic and asked him like, hey, showed him pictures. Do you think you can come up with a logo for me? Like I've been paying him $20 an hour to do work for me, this type of work for me, over the course of the week. And then we meet every week. We got a scheduled meeting every Saturday, and I take him out or he comes over here and we talk about work stuff. What did he work on? What am I thinking of? What are some good ways to communicate? And last week I taught him a little bit about Excel. So it's been a good opportunity to spend time with him in a really unique way. For me, at least, I never had this kind of interaction with my parents, but it's also a good way to like get stuff done that I don't. He is good at logo design. Like that's what he's kind of into. He's an art guy. I am not, and he's already taken my Genesis Materials logo. That was the first thing for logo stuff that I gave him, and he's been playing around with it and come up with some good stuff. And as he said about the t-shirts in my store, they're very flat. They're 2D. Maybe he didn't use the word 2D, but he did say they're flat. It wasn't a compliment. Uh, he's trying to liven up my stuff. But so this drip shipper, yeah. So you get the branding on there, and then per this little slide here, you upload the logo and use the label template or upload your. So we can, you can do it all through drip shipper. I don't want to do it that way though, because I'm trying to build a whole thing, whole brand. That's long term. Private label is built. Purchase your newly created coffee products for the wholesale cost. We roast and prepare your private blend coffee order. Your order gets shipped within 5 business days, and we send you the tracking information. So that's it. So we just worry in this part of the business about the customer. Like we find the customer, we build the customer base, we build the community around the customer. We want to make the customer want to come back for more. We just introduce ourselves in this stage, right? So I have that written down, don't I? So building base customers, building the brand, building recognition, networking, all that stuff. We don't have to worry about any of the production or anything like that. I mean, from the customer standpoint, yes, because if there's late shipments, all that stuff, yeah. But from the customer standpoint, we do. But again, that's just dealing with the customer. Otherwise, so once that gets going and you start building up your war chest to start going ahead and funding your other efforts or funding whatever goals are first set in place, then you can start looking at the middle stuff that eventually leads to the ultimate goal, which is the coffee shop in the Caribbean. But in between here, it's going to be steps going towards it, which would be, if you break that down, is distribution. So we're at the customer says, I want X. We go to the distribution company. Well, drip shipper is a distribution company, but let's pretend they're all separate. So let's look at it in segments. Go customer, I want X, comes to us, and we say to the distribution, hey, customer wants X. The distribution goes to their picks it up from someplace. So distribution goes out to the warehouse where it's stored, and then picks up and then runs to the distribution channel. So USPS, blah, blah, blah. In the warehousing, before it gets to the warehouse can only hold so much. So there's got to be some sort of sourcing layer involved. So coffee sourcing would be the layer. And then before it gets sourced, it has to be processed, so it has to exist. So the processing part of it is the layer. And then the bean sourcing, similar to the coffee sourcing, before the bean gets processed, there are different beans from different regions, from different farms. Uh, those need to be sourced. So there's a bean sourcing, and then finally the farming level of it. So there's several levels that from the customer, the storefront portion of it, that marketing and all of that. As the business grows, we have the room to grow through those other channels and build more, uh, get more of an income and have more control of the product at that point in time too. And then, at any stage along the way, that Blue Hole coffee shop in the Caribbean is not going to be a big deal at all, especially at a certain point where you start franchising and opening up the thing. I mean, it's kind of funny. Like if we, the goal is to get to Blue Hole, or not Blue Hole, but a coffee shop in the Caribbean, and we're nowhere near there now. It's just we're starting, which maybe that's part of the story, though, right? That is something that could be part of the marketing, the whole plan. Um, to go ahead and build that story and build the community, build a customer base, um, let them know along the way. But yeah, so that's the coffee um, thing that I was talking about. Um, and then the other thing I was thinking of was, and I was going to give you, if I was going to be just like, if there were gonna be people here, I was going to give an option if I had an audience, but because I'd like to have a conversation about this. This is kind of silly for me to be, not silly. Like I'm recording it and I have that to share. That's fine, but it's a strange. I've done it before. I've never felt comfortable doing it. It's like it's weird for me going too much into it. So I want to get behind that. All right, so the other thing I was thinking of, I'm big into movies. Always have been. My uncle has a huge collection of movies, thousands and thousands of movies, um, and thousands, like several VHS, Blu-ray, DVD. It's ridiculous. He recently died, and it's all getting boxed up and figuring out what to do with it all. But um, if I have the space, I'd certainly take it all and maybe I'll do that. In any case, I always been big into movies. So one of the things I've recently, very recently, decided to kind of plan my life a little bit more. I found I get um that well, I just picked up a book. It's called High Functioning Anxiety. Wasn't sure if it was around here or not. I think it's in a bag. Anyway, picked up this book, High Functioning Anxiety, and I was looking through books and I found that one and was reading the back cover and I was like, oh, that sounds about perfect for me. And basically, it describes how I feel or how I see myself, in the sense of there's a lot of people think that I'm organized or whatever and have things together at work, especially. And I'm a mess. Like a whole lot of stuff's going on in my head, and it's very hard to maintain. I get by. I'm a perfectionist, which has slowed me down in so many endeavors because I want to try to get the best thing out. Um, So I think at this stage of my life, as I'm doing this kind of thing here, where I'm very uncomfortable in the presentation of this. I know it's not close to top notch. It's not even mid notch, but I have, because of my perfectionism, um, I I have to go ahead and like throw myself into like, all right, we'll find it is what it is. I want to get the raw data. Consider this like the CSV, um, and I can build upon it later on. I can take this and move along with it. So this is not the end game. Very much similar, like I was talking about the coffee shop thing. Like what I start with, it's not even close to what I want to end with. So, um, what was I getting to? Movies. Yeah. So in planning a little bit, I needed to uh, give myself time to do things that I enjoy. And one of the things I've always enjoyed is watching movies, and I just don't anymore. I don't have the attention span. Like at some point in my life, uh, very short attention span, and like I can barely make it through a YouTube video. Sadly enough, like I just gotta, and it's not even. I think it's just watching things. Like if I can read and stuff, like I can do things, but just sit and watch something is just not a comfortable experience for me. I just want to go. There's hardly anything that there are some things that are very engaging, but there's not much. It's hard for me to find those things, and the effort that it takes me to find it, excuse me, it's just not worth it for me anymore. Like I like documentaries and stuff. I used to put it on the Doc Plus channel on my TV, um, and just leave my TV on. It was awesome, actually. It was probably a I would do it again, except I sleep in the room that the TV's in now, so I don't want that on at night. I won't be able to sleep well. Um, anyway, so because I'm going to be watching a movie tonight, it was on plan. I was like, I don't know what I want to watch. Um, so I was Googled it, just like movies to watch on streaming services, and there's really nothing. There's nothing to offer. I mean, we have a lot of streaming services, and we've had a lot of streaming services for a very long time. And I would think that there was a consolidated place for this. Like these are the things. Like that's a service that somebody's going to be paying for, right? Somebody's going to pay for that. Um, and I think the most companies have tried to do to simplify it to kind of meet the need. And I don't even know if they even realize that they're maybe getting close to it, but they're not even getting close to it. It's like when they're bundling stuff. Um, so because they bundle it all, then you can like do your search from one spot. But what if I'm just online and I want to find out where movies is, or don't have something that's in that bundle? Um, so I was thinking, I mean, IMDb exists, but I don't think they have. Um, I bet you they don't actually. That would be like the prime spot to it. Streaming. That's this. I would like to sort my watch list by what available. Sure, I'll watch it. Does anybody respond to it? 3 streaming options that I know of. Okay, so it looks like IMDb does have it. I've never really been on IMDb. I don't know how popular IMDb is as a movie hub. I bet you I could make a better IMDb. Maybe that's the goal. Maybe maybe that's what it is. Instead of so what I was thinking of anyway was hey, that's where IMDb started though. like exactly what I'm trying to do. So what I was thinking of was, all right, well, why don't we just make a database? And my uncle had a database for his movies. There was one Christmas where, or 1 year prior to Christmas, months prior to Christmas, where family members did data entry for months, filling up his a database with all his movies in it, and it was by so before he had that, in order to find all the movies, he had them categorized. So um, you can see my screen still. So like he had his VHS movies, and so he'd put you could fit like 2 or 3 movies onto a tape depending on your speed that you recorded at. So the first one was A, so he'd get 3 movies on that. B, and then you get 3 movies on that. C, and you get, you know, 3 movies on that, whatever it was. And then you get that all the way up until Z. Oops. And then he realized, whoops. I don't know why I'm spending so much time on this. Got all the way up until Z. And then he realized, okay, well, I've got more than 26 tapes worth of movies. So they went AA and BB and CC all the way until ZZ. And then he said, well, then what am I going to do? So then he switched over to number convention. So A1 and A2, then A3, then A4, then A5, up until, oh shoot, is that how we did it? Yeah. 'Cause I don't think he did. I'm trying to think if he did the 1A through 1Z, and then 2A through 2Z until a certain number. I'm pretty sure it was A1, A2. I'm gonna have to check that. But in any case, he got up going to like let's say it was A1, like to A126, something like that. Like probably like Z126, like that. So then that's just the VHS. And then on top of that, so those are the movies that were put out there. He'd also have the tapes that were bought from the VHS store, or from the VHS store, from the store. He'd have the tapes that were bought, so store-bought tapes as well, a large collection of those. And then he'd have the uh, um, tapes that were just like a single movie, because I don't think those were. No, they had to have been categorized. So those were categorized, yeah. But on top of the movies that he had TV shows. So he'd record all of a TV show, like every episode. So he had all the I Love Lucy's, all the Car 54, Where Are You's, all the Green Acres, all the uh, My Mom the Martian, or My Mother the Car. Yeah, My Favorite Martian and My Mother the Car. These shows existed, and so we had all these shows, and that's one hand. I mean, there's a lot more, and those were all recorded on a VHS, and all the commercials cut out of them, all that stuff. So, anytime we wanted to see, like, uh, when I was growing up, anytime my family wanted to go watch a movie or something, we'd just go over and borrow movies from my uncle's house. We didn't go and rent movies from the store. From Blockbuster or Home Vision. Was it Home Vision? Whatever it was. But but yeah, so all that was me saying that, yeah, we use it. There's a database that my uncle has that, I'm familiar with the categorization. And oh yeah, in order to get to those movies, before the database, he had a card catalog system. So basically, he would take manila folders, cut them into, card shapes, and with TV guides and with uh, like the HBO guides and stuff, that he would like cut out pictures, cut out the, descriptions, the synopsis that they'd have. He'd cut out like reviews, like if there were reviews that would fit into onto this card or whatever. And then he'd write, whatever the name of the movie was, and have the actors listed, whatever information he could fit on the card, and then he'd have them in these boxes, and they'd be in sections. And he'd have multiple cards to meet different sections. So let's say it was you wanted to watch an Eddie Murphy movie. He'd have a section of Eddie Murphy movies, and you could find Beverly Hills Cop in that. But if you were to look in the comedy section, you'd also find Beverly Hills Cop in that. Like he kept that. It's kind of crazy. Think about it now. Not crazy. I mean, probably something is not that crazy to me, which is crazy to me. So it's weird. But anyway, so that was the other thing I was thinking of, like creating a database online, to basically do what IMDb started doing, but start from the streaming perspective, and that would be like the customer base, the streaming audience, and then you can build whatever we wanted to do from that. But just an idea. Figured I'd throw it out there. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up because I've been doing a lot of talking. Uh, and my throat's dry. I hope this recorded because I want to share this with everybody. And I hope that this time works. I just kind of had to throw down a time. I wanted to do Monday at 7 o'clock because that was the first time. Actually, the first time we did it was like Wednesday, right? But in any case, I think Mondays. I don't really think it makes it. See, this is going back to this high functioning anxiety thing. I'm in my head right now. Uh, so Monday at 7, although like if, because like this is the core group that of people I kind of want to work with and develop some things. If you're interested in doing that, like if you're interested in doing that and it's like Monday at 7 is never going to work, let me know and we'll move it to some time that does work. And yeah, that's all. So bye. Hopefully this recorded, and hopefully you can see it okay.